Hey everybody, this is Adam Sullivan, Creative Director at Kanary Solutions, and I am here with you once again today to hopefully demystify what are commonly known as outlined and embedded Adobe Illustrator files. So, a big pitfall that we often run across when clients deliver files to us here at Kanary is that while they are ostensibly press ready, they're actually not quite ready to go, and they're missing images and fonts missing and all these other things. Once they get to the factory says, I can't open this, I can't do anything with it. So this one is actually a little bit more technical than some of the other tutorials I've done. So it's kind of for the graphic designer on your team. If you are the brand owner, brand manager, entrepreneur in charge of the company, you might want to just pass this one on. But let's dive in and take a look at this file that I have open right now, and we can talk about what's wrong with it and how to fix it. Okay? Cool. So here we see this Rivian branded box that we have open here on our screen in Adobe Illustrator. And there are two things that I would like to bring your attention to. First is that if we go into our inks layer here on our layer palette and we click on this, what we can see is that all of the fonts here are still live, right? So you can still change the copy, do whatever you want with it, which is fine when you're doing your designs. The other thing to note is that we have a layer here with this kind of particle image on it that I'm turning on and off as we speak here. And when you give somebody an Adobe Illustrator file, those two things, the fonts as well as images like we have with the particles, those are not part of the Adobe Illustrator document. Adobe is basically kind of referring back to them. Those live somewhere else. They're referring to the fonts where you have them loaded on your computer. They're grabbing that image from wherever it sits on your computer hard drive, and they're kind of showing it to you, but it's not really part of the document yet. So that's the big problem. That's great while you're designing stuff, but once you give that file to the factory, they don't want to have to mess with all that. They don't want you to even give them your fonts or your images sorted out or make sure that everything is already linked up. They want that stuff to be embedded in the Adobe Illustrator document in a way that they don't have to do anything but bring it up and print it. So how do we fix this? Pretty easy, actually. There are basically two moves. One is we need to do what's called outlining the fonts. Now, this will make the fonts no longer editable. You can't change the copy. So it's most important as you begin to create a new version of this document so that you can always backtrack and make changes if the client requests them in the future. But for the factory, we're going to create a proprietary version where all of this stuff has been done and there's no backsies on it, but it's also easy for them to deal with. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our layers palette here, if you follow my cursor, and we're going to unlock every single image with that little lock symbol. And then I will also go Command Option 2, Control Option 2 if you're not on a Mac, and just make sure that none of the individual objects are locked down. You can see that in doing that, I actually did find a piece of text that became active, meaning it was locked down. So you want to make sure that everything on your design is wide open, not locked, not hidden, anything like that. So once you do that, all you have to do is this. You go Command A or Control A if you're on a PC. That selects everything. Then you go Command Shift O or Control Shift O. That means outline, and that's the big one right there. What that does is it takes all of those fonts, and let's go into outline view and see it. If I zoom in, those are no longer fonts. These are all individual collections of lines and dots. Those are no longer live fonts. Those are basically an image like any other image on the entire design. So that is number one. Now, while we have everything unlocked, we also have to deal with the fact that that molecule image that I mentioned earlier isn't really part of the Adobe Illustrator file, but there's a way to fix that too. So basically, if we go over here to our links palette, we were in our layers palette earlier. Now we're in our links palette over here. You can see all of the instances where this molecule graphic occurs on the box. So all you have to do is hold down your Shift key, select all of them, and then because you have everything completely unlocked and accessible over here on the layers panel, all you have to do now is go over here to your hamburger menu and you go embed images. Boom. So those are literally part of the document now, and you can see there's no link icon next to them anymore. That means that this is part of it. It's going to make your file size bigger too, by the way, because it's part of it. So then the last thing we want to do, which honestly should have been the first thing I did, is we want to do a save as and create a new version of this that says outlined after it, so that, again, we've protected our original design file if we ever need to go back and make copy changes. So we're going to go File, save as, Command Shift S or Control Shift S. And then we're going to take this layout and call it Revienne box. Instead of live type was my suffix before, we're going to put outlined. Boom, done. Okay, hit save. And yes, I've done this before. And we're good to go. So now that file that says outlined after it, no more live fonts, no more live images that are unembedded. You can send that whole thing to any printer anywhere in the world and they will know what to do with it. So that is how it's done, guys. And I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.